Welcome back to Psychology 545. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the requirements for the Ethical Standards and Codes Learning Team paper. Specifically, we'll look at the learning team assignment process, where to post your paper, the objectives of the paper, and critical points. So in this paper, I need you to prepare a 1,400 to 1,750 word paper in which you examine the role of ethical standards and codes in the field of psychology. Remember that you certainly can go over 1,750 words, just don't go under 1,400. And please make sure that you address each individual objective. When you're done with your paper, post through the assignment link as well as a link provided in the main forum. As with the rest of the papers, and in previous videos I mentioned I highly recommend using the objectives as headings, and I'll be again providing examples of how to do that in this video. So the first objective is to define the ethical standards and codes, and here's a suggested level 1 heading. Very simple. Ethical standards and codes defined, centered on the page, a mixture of upper and lowercase words, in bold, without a period. I'll need you to also support your logic with a literary reference, and when you're done writing, make sure that you use a transition sentence that takes the reader from what you just discussed and introduces them into the next objective. The next objective is to analyze the impact of societal norms on the development of ethical standards and codes. Again, a suggested level 1 heading. Centered on the page in bold without a period, using a mixture of uppercase and lowercase words, simply the impact of societal norms on the development of ethical standards and codes. So in this paper, in this part of the paper, I need you to provide an example of the societal norm that has been incorporated into one of the standards and codes related to the field of psychology. This time I need you to support your logic with a literary reference that you have not used so far in this paper. And again, insert a transition sentence prior to getting into the next main point. The next main point or objective reads, evaluate the impact of the American Psychological Association, APA, ethical standards and codes on professional practice in the field of psychology. Here's a suggested level 1 heading. It's rather long, but it covers everything that you need. The impact of the American Psychological Association's, APA, ethical standards and codes on professional practice in the field of psychology. Now also remember that when I use an abbreviation inside of brackets, I have permission then after that to use the abbreviation APA throughout the rest of the paper without having to spell out American Psychological Association. Centered on the page, bold, mixture of upper and lowercase words, no period used. So for this particular main point or objective, again, support your logic with a reference you have not used yet in the paper, and then use a transition sentence going to the next main point. And the next main point, which is the last main point or objective of the paper, is to explain the importance of professional ethical standards and codes in the field of psychology. As you may have surmised, this is my suggested level 1 heading, the importance of professional ethical standards and codes in the field of psychology. Centered on the page, bold, mixture of upper lowercase words, no period. And then, again, support your logic with a new literary reference you haven't used so far in the paper. Now, also note that I'm not telling you to do a transition sentence because this is the last main point, this is the last objective. And when you go from the last objective or main point into your conclusion, you do not need a transition sentence. Critical points for this paper and every other paper. Do a solid introductory paragraph. And remember from the previous video, that includes a short sentence or two about why the material is important, followed by a list of what you're going to be describing. And again, I recommend that you just list out the objectives for the paper in that portion of the introduction. Make sure that you address each objective, include each objective as a heading, use transition sentences between each main point, and give me a solid concluding paragraph. Again, in the concluding paragraph, remind me why the material is important, and simply list out what it was that you discussed or your main points or objectives for the paper. Please remember to use APA format for all in-text references and in your reference page. And above all else, please watch your spelling, grammar, and punctuation. So in this particular video, we've taken a look at the assignment process, where to post your paper, the objectives of the paper, how to turn those objectives into headings, some critical points as well. The next video covers the ethical decision-making paper. Thank you.